Hey guys, the time has come to talk about my Sonic movie 4 idea video. So before I get into this, I just want to say if you have not seen the previous parts, I'll put a link to it in the card above. Go watch that before coming over to here. And so without further ado, let's get started. So, I want to talk about the character arcs. I wanted to have this arc of Sonic learning, well, he's getting more cocky, he's growing up really quickly. And essentially, he's always on the move, but doesn't seem to appreciate the little things. And that's kind of what I would have in mind. The film would open up exactly how the idea in the finale bit of the third film idea. We would see the inside of the Ark malfunctioning with green electricity of the emeralds everywhere. Gerald would witness firsthand at the true power of chaos control. Shadow ignites his power, and within one flash, the Ark completely disappears. Now, before anyone asks, Shadow will not be in this, neither will be Gun, because they're busy with Black Dew. So yeah, that's the reason why. So let's back to the story. The Ark would go crashing through this portal and it would end up in Palm Tree Panic. Clearly broken. Robotnik would wake up after crawling out of his Eggmobile, which got damaged, and he would look around. The Ark has seen a bit of damage and it's not exactly in good shape. As he gets up to look around, he sees that all sorts of stuff are broken. There's wires coming out, and the computer systems seem to be fried. However, he sees a corpse body on the floor, that being Gerald's, skull. Robotnik does take this time to think that he is the last Robotnik now, but he states to his grandfather he'll conquer the world his way and rub it in his face. Robotnik steps outside with a couple of badniks that are still under his control, along with Gerald's badniks which he reprogrammed, and he begins to look around to figure out how he can possibly return to Earth. Cue the title. We would then see Sonic running across into town, picking up some gifts, doing like quick errands, running across everywhere to get party gifts and all sorts of different other items. Perhaps there's a party going on or something. We would see him pass the Green Hills sign, and we would see him running across into town, collecting all the items. You might ask, what's the occasion? Well, Knuckles, who after the Ideas video season 2 has moved to Angel Island, and the family, along with Amy, who joins them, they decide to welcome Knuckles back. Essentially, Knuckles comes to visit them very often. So yeah, they decide to let him come back in and celebrate. While that's going on, Tom has a talk with Sonic. He knows that Sonic likes to go quick and all, but he should take some time to slow down and appreciate the little things in life. Because they'll be gone in a flash. And faster than he will be. Sonic kind of admits this. Although he has been busy being the hero that the world has been celebrating, as seen on newspapers and all sorts, he does kind of admit he should, and he takes Tom's advice. And then we cut to Robotnik, who commands his robots, or badniks, to stop mining resources from the planet, as they begin to refix up the Ark, and, make it into his own sort of personal ship. We would see them beginning to fix and create all sorts, fixing up parts of the Ark, getting the computers back online, as Robotnik begins to create all sorts of mandates, items to figure out what this planet is. and he begins to build more and more machines. But he decides that this is taking too long, and that he has no idea how long he's going to be on here. That this island is incredibly weird. However, as Robotnik picks up a reading out of nowhere, a powerful surge of energy, he goes to investigate it, and he discovers a small red stone, with one half of it being removed. As Robotnik picks it up, he thinks it's just one stupid rock. However, he does wish that that all these productions would just speed up. However, when he goes outside to investigate, he sees the ark, but then suddenly the stone glows, and time seems to have sped up, as the station is fully rebuilt, and it turns into, well, the Death Egg, which is not called the Death Egg, it's called the station, the Egg Station, or Eggman Station. Robotnik is super pleased with this. He then gets on board and flies off and uses the stone to create a hole in time to travel back to Earth. Meanwhile, Sonic, Tails, Amy and Knuckles, as well as Tom and Maddie and Ozzy, they all begin to celebrate. And there's a lot of fun gags here and there with a few references to past adventures, which would be really cool to see. Meanwhile, we would see Agent Stone, who would be busy sorting out all files with this new Eggman Empire and the hidden bases across the planet. But also, Metal Sonic has been busy doing some other work as well, including erasing some of Gun's paperwork, which would stop their empire from existing. However, Metal suddenly gets a weird connection, as he gets orders to come to this location. Metal Sonic leaves Stone quite quickly, and Stone's confused, but he seemingly lets Metal go, as Metal is a very advanced AI system. As Metal Sonic goes to this station, he's met with his creator, who tells Metal that it's time to pay the Hedgehog a visit. Meanwhile, Team Sonic would have a race in the forest and would enjoy looking around. However, their kind of incuriousness comes to an end. Amy shows a fortune prediction of something called a time stone, but the group doesn't believe it. However, Metal Sonic shows up, and ultimately Tails predicts that the robot looks awfully like Robotnik tech, and Knuckles states that he'll be ready to smash it completely, as he charges straight on in, ready to punch Metal. However, the team ultimately tells Knuckles to stop. Knuckles tries to punch, but Metal Sonic overpowers and begins firing guns from his wrists. He then charges towards, fighting off Sonic, who he runs after. Sonic spin dashes into Metal, causing him to fall to the ground. But Metal blasts him with a laser, sending him back towards the house. Amy tries to hit him, but Metal grabs a stick and slams it into a stone, and hits her back with it. This is a reference to the final episode of Sonic Boom. Tails would try to use some gadgets to hack into it, but unfortunately his Miles Electric gets hacked with the Eggman logo. Tails is surprised and shocked that something actually happened to his Miles Electric. But then Metal Sonic grabs him and tosses him into Knuckles. Sonic saves Amy from being blasted, as Metal Sonic grabs Sonic and throws him back in towards Tom and Maddie's house, firing the laser, sending him crashing through the upstairs room, completely burning the upstairs part and destroying Sonic's attic room. Tom and Maddie are shocked beyond belief. Just then they see a robot hedgehog appear, and it grabs Sonic, spinning him around, tossing him into the tree. As Amy tries to whack Metal, he overpowers them. He overpowers the hammer and even whacks Amy with the hammer. Just then Robotnik comes in, and just then Badniks appear to surround the others. Knuckles charges to attack, Metal, but Metal stops him and absorbs some of his energy, and his skin turns, his metallic parts turn red, a reference to Knuckles' Chaotix with the Metal Sonic Kaiju. Sonic asks how is Eggman still alive, and Robotnik states that it's harder to kill evil cockroaches. Tails says, but you helped us save the planet. But Eggman states that that was only a temporary alliance. Now I'm back to doing what I love best. Metal then begins to grab Sonic by the throat, and Sonic charges up more energy, and this not only fries Metal, but creates a blue explosion, which alters Metal's appearance permanently, turning him blue. However, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy destroy some of the Badniks, and Robotnik pulls out the Time Stone and rewinds time so that the Badniks never were destroyed. Amy recognizes what Robotnik's doing, and ultimately she states it can't be. It exists. As Knuckles charges towards Robotnik, Metal comes in and fires out some missiles at Knuckles, ultimately hit him off guard. Robotnik then decides to retreat with Metal Sonic, and he presses a button on his new suit, which activates a jetpack, and him and Metal fly away along with some of the drones. After this, Amy suspects something about this Time Stone, and Sonic asks what on earth that was all about, but something's up with that. Meanwhile, Robotnik looks around in his old base and returns to it. He begins to look around, seeing that the base is empty and that the teleporter has been altered. But he manages to fix it and change it back to, of course, the Eggman station. Him and Metal jump on board and they begin to look around. Eggman tells Metal to receive an old friend of his, an ally. After all, he needs to hand him the keys to his empire now, and orders Metal to find Agent Stone. Metal agrees and tracks Agent Stone's DNA and manages to find him. Eggman begins to look around in space, reminiscing of the fact obviously he teamed up with his grandfather. Meanwhile, Agent Stone is still annoyed he can't find Robotnik, and he feels that he's lost a very important part of his life. It's now gone. Just then, Metal shows up and drags Stone onto a teleporter, taking him to Robotnik. Stone's eyes are beyond anything. He is surprised to see Robotnik. He tries to hug Robotnik, but Robotnik doesn't let him. But he tells Stone that despite all of it, that he's been a very useful ally to him. He is a sicker friend to him. And Stone then makes Robotnik a latte. And Robotnik says, "I love the way you make 'em," traditionally, which makes Stone very happy. Robotnik then asks how is his mechanical empire doing now? And then makes obviously the robot noises saying zzz, 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 like that kind of thing. He wants information about what's going on. And here's where we get it. Stone tells Robotnik that everything's been pretty fine, honestly. Nothing's really happened. GUN's not tried to attack as they've been busy with another alien incident. So they're in the clear. Robotnik congratulates Stone, and he says it's now time to hand in his empire back. Stone agrees and gives Robotnik control. Robotnik then tells how, when he was gone, he discovered something incredible. The key to controlling all of time. the thing called... It's a half. Robotnik shows this. A half of a stone. Agent Stone looks surprised and is about to suddenly go and touch it, but Robotnik pulls it away. Metal Sonic would look at it in a much more different way, as dark and sinister music plays as the camera zooms in. For Metal, I really wanted to play up the creepiness like he doesn't say any words, a little bit similar to how Feathers McGraw is in Wallace and Gromit, the kind of character who doesn't say a lot. Meanwhile, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Tom and Maddie, they begin to speculate on the idea of how Robotnik was able to pull off this kind of time thing. And Amy decides to tell the story of the Time Stones, to which Knuckles states that that's just a bedtime story. They don't actually exist. They were all destroyed long ago. And Tails also mentions this, as Sonic states that he's never heard of this. But Amy says that she has heard this before, and she explains the story of the Time Stones. Long ago, before the Chaos Emeralds existed, there were these 7 Time Stones. They basically were created long ago, and they were used to manipulate time, to speed it up and to slow it down, and even rewind time. They had the ability of time manipulation, which they could alter anything, and if the user could use them, they could alter them to their will, essentially good or bad. However, the stones proven quite bad during a war between certain animals. I don't know which animals to choose from, but yeah, the war was very bad, and, well, the stones ended up being destroyed because of how dangerous their powers pose. And, however, someone kept the original stone, and they split it into 2 halves, with the first half on Panic Palm Tree planet. And Tails mentions that means Robotnik must have the first part. But where's the second part? At least. However, they don't really know. Tails mentions that there's no sort of sign of where it could be. And Amy shows her tarot card readings. It shows a knight, a pyramid, a time stone. Knuckles looks at this in a bit confusion, not really understanding anything about this, or what a great pyramid of what this weird triangle thing is. Tails himself is having a hard time figuring it out, on what it could possibly mean. However, Sonic comes to the conclusion that it's in Egypt, inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, to which ultimately means that Team Sonic has to go to Egypt to find the stone, the other half of the stone. Tom and Maddie decide to let them go, to obviously see the events, and they tell them to make right decisions, and if they could possibly save the time stone, maybe perhaps use it to fix the house again. And Sonic laughs at this as they toss a ring portal and head off. However, what they don't know is a bunch of egg drones were spying on the house and were listening to the whole conversation. As they fly up into space back to Robotnik, we would see them watching all of the events going on. We would see, of course, Agent Stone watching on, and Metal Sonic watching on. Robotnik and Stone, they would be concerned with this, but Robotnik tells them that it's time for the 3 of them to have a little field trip. As he states to Stone, he was building this on the planet, he was trapped on. A massive buzz bomber. A flying massive buzz bomber, similar to the massive crab meat from Sonic 3. As they enter in, there is tons of badniks in there, along with missiles, and of course a massive cockpit. Stone ends up driving them as it heads on down to Earth. Robotnik then unveils to Stone one last thing, a new outfit, which Stone is shocked at, and Robotnik says considering it payment for years of servitude. And Stone puts on the new outfit, as it has wrist-launching blasters on the side, and a full-on awesome new suit. Stone thanks Robotnik for everything. And Robotnik says, "Don't thank me yet. Thank me when I take over. And never thank me."